This is about victory and defeat. Yesterday being Super Bowl Sunday, and me being somewhat in the midst of thinking about collaboration, I wrote a piece about that, eventually focusing on the tension between the two contradictory concepts of a team sport and individual stars. I suppose I could say that in any collaboration, the contributions from the partners are not exactly equal, yet all are necessary, and let it go at that, with a mention that collaboration means that sooner or later egos will be involved, usually in a negative way. I do want first to note that the quarterback of the winning team was technically a backup quarterback, replacing the starter who was injured late in the season. The backup quarterback performed admirably throughout the contest, at times sensationally, and he was honored as the most valuable player in the game. Vexing me, who does not like individual honors in a team sport, and putting a problem before his team. Next year, what will they do? Who do they play? I think the former starter was the MVP of the season, despite missing the last 3 games. But do you bench the player who led you through the playoffs and helped you win the Super Bowl? Finally, I'll note that in a game that featured a dynastic team, the Patriots, and a legendary quarterback, Tom Brady, the head coach of the winning team, who made some very ballsy calls during the game, and his assistant coach were both backup quarterbacks in their playing days. This game was the revenge of the nerds. I might also say that the great Tom Brady was also once a backup quarterback who got a chance to start when the regular player was injured. I have a few other thoughts provoked by watching the game. One is how incredibly slim is what is often called the margin of victory. The game tips one way or another for almost no reason at all, yet at the end one team is gloriously victorious while the other is deeply mired in the sadness and gloom of defeat. These are absolute judgments, but in the contest itself the outcome was very much in dispute, decided by the narrowest, flimsiest chain of dubious circumstances. That margin of victory is one very fine line. Delving deeper into this, I'll say a bit about the instant replay system, the one upon further review. They must have had 15 different camera angles on any disputed play, and one of those might reveal what the referees on the field could not see, when the ball was loose, whether or not a toe was on a chalk line, or was his arm moving forward when the ball came out. But there are also cases, even with all this information supplied at super slow motion and in extreme close-up, when it is simply impossible to say exactly what happened, or when it happened, in the absolute sense of making a call, safe or out, in or out, ball loose, so a fumble, or ball out because of the ground, catch or no catch. First down or loss of possession, touchdown or interception. The outcome of the game hinges on the decision, and when a call is finally made, in too many cases, support for it is sketchy, and very few are satisfied. Because of the technical improvement in the equipment used in scientific observation, experts in a field quickly reach a point where they have to admit that they are unsure about what it is they are seeing. The microscope is so powerful that it is observing phenomena so minute and rapidly moving that the very act of observing interferes with what you see. One instance of this is called Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It emphasizes the limits of observation. Similarly, the officials in a football game, yesterday's football game, are sometimes forced to make a decision when truthfully it could be called either way. There is evidence for each side, or worse, a lack of evidence for either side. It doesn't seem possible, but there it is. It's a hair that can't be split, but a call must be made. and this compromised decision might well determine to a great extent the outcome of the game. All the fancy camera stuff was supposed to eliminate human error. It has not. If anything, it makes those judgment calls more problematic than ever. They even sometimes tweak rules to try to guard against these dicey calls, but it doesn't work. I think they should scrap the technology and give the game back to the refs. When they blow a call, dry your tears and play on. Human error is part of the game. It cannot be eliminated. The players make mistakes, the coaches as well, and the referees are not immune. Stop the time-consuming nonsense of going to the replay and play on. Of course, they won't.